Welcome to Real Estate Investing for Professional Men and Women, the podcast that guides professionals to financial prosperity. Join our community and let's start building your wealth. Here's your host, Gary Wilson.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Real Estate Investing for Professional Men and Women. Welcome aboard to all of you who are professionals in your respective fields. Some of you are chiropractors, dentists, accountants, teachers, engineers, all types of engineers, by the way, 452 types of engineers, including software developers, pilots, military, firemen, policemen. Welcome aboard. Everyone who's in management, any type of professional position. The reason we created this is because I'm one too. And we realized that when it comes to real estate investing, there's a whole lot of information out there on like no money down techniques, buying with no money down, all this kind of stuff. Well, the reason they teach that is when they ask people about money, people say, I don't have any. So they teach no money down techniques. Well, the reality is there are ways to purchase real estate where you don't have to use a lot of creative, tricky techniques. There are ways to be creative, no doubt about it. But I'm a big advocate if you do borrow against yourself, okay, for the down payment. So you obviously want to use a traditional mortgage where you get the lower interest rates and terms. You know, people who use hard money loans, they're hard for a reason. Terms are hard. Shorter terms on the payment, higher interest rates, more points up front. And I can tell you that stuff all works, okay? But it'll take you forever to build up enough substantial wealth and income to be able to retire because your equity is generally tighter, which means your cash flow is also generally tighter. So what we advocate is getting on a cash basis as fast as you can. And we help you do that. And once you're on a cash basis, things get a lot easier. So in any case, we really are about the community. It's several thousand of us across the U.S. and Canada. We've been doing this for almost 4 years now. And included in that community are investor agents, real estate agents who are trained to work specifically with us. They have a certification, investor agent certification. The only way to get that is to go through this specific training. And we want them to be investors too. I can tell you as an investor, when I work with people, when I hire people to work for me, accountants doing my tax returns, bookkeepers, whatever, I want to make sure that they've invested themselves in real estate. So I know that they know what it's like and what it takes, okay? And what's interesting, and it may sound like, well, that's the long road. It's really not. It ends up being the short road to on the path of prosperity. So in any case, welcome aboard. If you want to join that community, you're certainly welcome to. I'll talk more about it at the end, but you can simply go to myinvestmentservices.com and click on the link for the membership area. And you can log in from there, and you'll see everything you need to know about the people on your investing team, the attorneys, the lenders, the contractors, insurance. They're all on there. Even credit repair if you need that, but also the highly desired investor agent. Okay, they're worth their weight in gold when they know what they're doing, right? So we've got them out there. In any case, welcome aboard. Let's go ahead and get started here. Today's subject is we've done a lot of podcasts on creative purchasing techniques. What I want to talk about today is exit strategies. When you set out to invest in a property, you definitely want to have a end game in mind. What is your goal? What's your objective? I know everybody's saying, well, Gary, I just want to make a lot of money. And well, I understand that, and we appreciate that, and we want to make money too. We're going to help you do it. But the fact is, you should always have an exit strategy, okay? What is it you're looking to do with the property? You're going to flip it, buy it, below market value if possible, fix it up, raise the value, sell it for profit. That's flipping. Do you intend to buy and hold? Are you going to buy these properties? You can rent out single-family homes just like you can rent out duplexes and triplexes and fourplexes. What's your strategy would be then to purchase and hold for a period of years. So you can amortize it over the next 27 and a half years. Okay, depreciate it, and sell it when you're done. Or you can say, well, I want to hold it for 10 years and sell it, or whatever it is. Or maybe you want to get something on a contract and wholesale it, which means sell the contract. to another person who's going to then eventually buy the building. Okay. Um, there are hybrid approaches, which I'll discuss here in a moment. And I'll also discuss the scenario where you actually change your strategy midstream, which I do not advocate. Okay. However, sometimes it's necessary. The markets change, for example. So let's just take this one step at a time. Let's talk about flipping first. So flipping's pretty straightforward. There's lots of great TV shows about flipping. Just be aware that they're really showing you whatever they can show you in a half hour. There's a lot to flipping. I mean, we've got an entire training program just on flipping for profits without the risk, in fact, is what it's called. And generally, from start to finish, you're looking at a few months time from the time you first set out to buy a property, actually purchase it, remodel it, and then put it back on the market and find another buyer to buy it in its newly remodeled state, obviously at a higher price, and then eventually get them under contract and go through that whole closing process. You might imagine you're looking here, could any minimum 3 months. That's if everything works perfectly, but more likely you're looking at like 6 months. Okay, especially in the beginning. So let's just walk through that a little more detail. You can meet with me if you'd like, and we go through what's called a strategy session, and we help you identify more precisely what you're currently doing and what you have available in the way of resources. Resources can be money, of course, financial resources, cash and or credit. Also, your resource of your time, the resource of your energy, the resource of your skills and your talents. What do you bring to the table? What can we leverage to help you streamline the process of flipping this property? Okay. Maybe you're a great project manager. Maybe you're a great interior designer. Whatever the case is, we want to identify all of those traits, all of those skills and talents and resources you have. Because once we know like what you have in the way of cash or credit, then we know what we call that your ammunition is. And then when we know what your skills and talents are and who do you know a good qualified general contractor? Those are your weapons. An investor agent is a weapon. Okay. Now these are just euphemisms, right? We're describing the game of hunting to help you think this through. So your capital, your money is your ammunition, for example. Your weapons are you and your investor agent, your inspector, your contractor, your lender, your insurance guy. And the target is what you're looking to aim at and get. That's your prize. So once we know what you have to work with, i.e. ammunition, and once we know what you have to work with, i.e. Weapons, your resources and your skills and talents, and those of people you know, then we can better identify what target you should be going after. Okay? Really important, critical part of the game. So once we know that, then we can help you find the properties or your investor agent. If you want us to team you up with one of them, that's great. Just let us know. And they'll help. They'll identify the targets for you based on what we just went through. They bring you the properties. You do the analysis on those properties. Now, the investor agent is qualified to do analysis, and they'll gather data for you. But as a investor who comes from a professional background, you know as well as I do, guys, I'm never going to say to somebody, well, just go find me a good deal, or you run the numbers and you tell me if it's a good deal. That is not the way to invest, guys. Let the other people do that. Okay. You are successful, you are a professional, and you think of things with a different mindset, which is you are in control of your money and you are in control of your decision making, and you make educated decisions based on facts and information. So, and you can learn how to do the analysis. It's really easy. I mean, just go into the community site, go into the silver level members area, and grab the tools and learn how to use them. You can do the training too. It's a much faster way to do that. But the bottom line is, they find you the properties, you do the analysis on them, you go look at them in person to do further analysis. We always do financial analysis first, followed by physical analysis. Okay, that's the right way to do it. Other people teach you, go look at the property first and go see how much work it needs to be done, and then you do the numbers on it. You run the numbers first based on what you do know, and only the properties that look like they make the most sense at that point do you go look at in person? Because you going out in person is the most expensive use of your time. Okay, but regardless, you go through those steps, you narrow things down further to the final one or two or three properties. You meet with your investor agent, you determine the best one to make an offer on. You do that night, and you get it under contract. Well, that whole thing could be a week or it could be a month. You just got to go through the process. But once you get it under contract, you still got to go through the closing process. Title work, inspections, the whole 9 yards. If you're going to be using financing, securing the financing, do the closing. That's going to take probably a month. Then you might need another month to remodel. So that takes a month. That's a third month. Then you put it back on the market using your investor agent because they're trained specifically to help you sell flips for the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time. Okay. But regardless, that could take a week or up to a month. And then you get it under contract on the back end sale where you're going to profit. And that closing process takes a month. So see what I'm saying? You're looking at easily, if everything works exactly perfectly according to plan with no downtime, you go identify a property, you buy it, you get under contract, you narrow they shorten that process. And when you go to sell it later on, maybe you shorten that process too. But in essence, you could easily be looking at 6 months. If you're lucky, maybe 5, really lucky, maybe 4. And if all the stars are lined up in your favor, maybe you can do it in 3 months. But let's be realistic. Right? We're not here to try to pull the wool over our eyes or be Pollyannish about this. We're being realistic because we're professionals, right? Gary Wilson here. I just wanted to let you guys know, remind you that we do have our very next 3-day event coming up April 5th, 6th, and 7th at the Anaheim Marriott, right outside the gates of world-famous Disneyland, located at 700 West Convention Way, of course, in Anaheim, zip code 92082. Okay. You can go to myinvestmentservices.com, look for the information on the event. Also, you can contact us, support at myinvestmentservices.com, or call 1-800-931-2605. So this is for you. Whether you're a chiropractor, dentist, teacher, fireman, policeman, pilot, military, engineer, this is designed to bring you together to talk about investing the right way. So what this is not the no money down owner financing stuff. Okay, I'll show you how to invest if you don't have a lot of cash right now or no cash. Okay, we just do it differently. We don't put you at risk by doing hard money loans, borrowing against other people at 10, 12, 15% with lots of points that chew up all your equity and cash flow. We actually show you how to leverage what you've already got and borrow against yourself. You probably have more than you actually realize even you have, especially if you have your own practice or your own business, okay? And by the way, the cool thing about this is you're going to meet the people you need to meet to support you. I've trained over 20,000 investors and agents around the U.S. and Canada last several years. And at the event, there'll be a lot of agents there right here in your area in Southern California that I personally train to work with us, to work with you and me on investing. These are not regular realtors. They're certified. They work specifically with us, flipping homes and buying fourplexes and stuff like that. So come and connect with them, get the tools, you get the strategies, you get everything you need, okay, so that you can succeed. So this is designed specifically for you. It's not for everybody. That's why we narrow down the target audience, just for you and others just like you. So welcome aboard. Look forward to seeing you there. Reach out, contact us, grab yourself a spot. There's some specials going on. I've got an agent right now meeting with chiropractors at the local association dinners, for example. So come on aboard, come join the community, bring your children, let them go to Disneyland on Sunday. We're done a half a day on Sunday anyways. You can join them and enjoy the rest of the day there. So God bless you. We'll see you there. Bye-bye. So in any case, that's one extra strategy. You flip it for profit. Now, the thing is when you do that, you get paid one time. You shoot the goose that lays a golden egg, you get one egg, okay? Now, another strategy is to keep the property for rent. So your strategy here is to buy a rental property. Now, you could do it one of two ways. There's lots of ways you can do it, but here's the two main strategies. One is to buy a property that's turnkey, which means it's already to rent. It's already in marketable condition. Maybe it's already rented already. It's got tenants in there, and you simply just take the property over as a new owner, and you start getting all that cash flow. That's the easiest way. But also, you're generally going to get you're not going to be able to get steep discounts. If the property's in good enough shape, it's marketable, and it's in marketable condition, it's already rented, I'm not saying you got to pay top dollar. You want to strike a good deal, remember, because you're using some cash. But the reality is you're not going to get the kind of discount you get if you get a property that has deferred maintenance. So option one is turnkey, already up and running. You start cash flowing day one. That's on rentals. Option two on rentals is you do buy a property that does need to be remodeled, just like you do in a flip. So you buy a property that has deferred maintenance. You work it into your offer that you need you discount the offer price by the amount of the deferred maintenance. So you then do the deferred maintenance, you take care of it, you get it rented out, and then you go get financing on it after you rent it out. So here's the steps involved. This is with rentals on buying properties that needs to have deferred maintenance. So same process with a flip as far as property identification, same steps. It's just the extra strategy is to hold it. So you buy a property that go to good rental area, but with a little elbow grease, little TLC, could be a shining example in the neighborhood, and you can get better rents for it. So you buy the property, maybe for cash if you're lucky, or you have the cash or partial cash. You remodel it using cash or maybe another line of credit. Then you get it rented first before you go to the bank to get a new mortgage on it. So you first get it rented, get some cash flow coming in, then you go to the bank and say, I'd like to put a brand new first mortgage on this property. I own it. It's rented out. It's in pristine condition. They'll come out, do an appraisal based on the other sales in the area, also based on the income approach to evaluation. Okay. And they'll give an appraised value and give you a loan based on that appraised value, typically anywhere from 60 to 80 cents on the dollar. Okay. So you're basically looking to recoup your cost. The reason why a lot of investors like this buy and hold strategy is, at the end of the day, if you remodel correctly and you get it rented ahead of time, when you go to get your loan, the loan is often enough to pay back the cost of the acquisition of the property and the remodeling. So you essentially get a no money down. You just do it, the long way, and you do it by borrowing against yourself, essentially. So you get a great property. I've even done properties, dozens of them, where on the refinance, I got more back in my pocket than I put out. Okay. Some people call it a cash out refinance. Essentially, it's still a first mortgage. But the reality is if you buy a property for 100,000, you put 50,000 into it, and at the end of the day, when you appraise it, it's worth 250, and you get an 80% loan to value. That's $200,000. You just put 50 grand in your pocket. The difference between the original 100,000 purchase and 50,000 remodeling, that's 150,000. The difference between that and the 200,000 you're taking out on the refi is 50,000. That's cash in your pocket that you can use to put on another property if you want, or go buy a car. I suggest you buy another property. And then obviously you'll do that as long as your cash flow will cover your mortgage plus expenses. In any case, that's the latter approach to buying rentals. The former approach, which is turnkey, means you simply buy the property as is, and you're not going to refinance it. You're just going to keep the mortgage you used that you have it on it when you bought the property. Okay. Now, let's talk about this. Let's say you are flipping a property and all of a sudden the market stops like it did in late 2007. And you realize, my gosh, I'm not going to be able to sell this thing for as much as I wanted to and as quickly as I wanted to. Well, you can turn it into a rental. That's called changing your strategy midstream. The challenge with that is we typically remodel for flipping differently than we remodel for rentals. So if you spend a lot of money on this property for flipping, chances are the rental income you're going to derive from that property is not going to do as well justifying the cost. In other words, the ends don't justify the means. The income coming in from the rentals is not enough to justify all you put into remodeling the property. That's one of the dangers of changing your strategy midstream from going from flipping to rental. Okay. Now you could also do in that scenario what's called a lease option. You could lease the property out to a new prospective tenant with the option to buy. They get the option to buy the property from you at a future date, and they pay you an option fee to do that. By the way, they get what's called an option document. It's not refundable, and it's not the down payment either. So in any case, that's another sort of creative exit strategy in the case you can't really sell a flip like you thought you were going to. Now, another interesting strategy is this. It's called a hybrid approach, which means you can combine flipping and a flipping strategy with a rental strategy. And here's how it works. Let's say you buy a property and you intend to keep it for a while for rental purposes, but you also would like to sell it for a big profit under certain circumstances. What you could do is buy a 4-unit building, for example, and over the next 12 months, all 4 leases will likely come due, just hopefully not at the same time. But what you can do is each lease comes due, don't renew the lease. Let the tenant know that you got 60 days to move out, and because you're going to be working on the property to a degree that doesn't make it will be inhabitable while you're working on it. So you improve the property, improving the grade of the unit. You go from grade, say, C plus to B minus, or C to C minus, or B minus to B, whatever the case is. You're going to change the grade of that unit so you can rent it for more money when you're done. Well, throughout the year, you do that 4 times, once for each unit. Okay. So at the end of the year, you've got a much more greatly improved property in physical terms and more greatly improved property in income financial terms. All right. And then you can sell it for profit. So while you own the property, the interesting thing is you had rents coming in from 3 other units. You were only remodeling 1 unit at a time. So the money's not like when you flip a single family home, guys, it's empty. While it's empty, there, of course, there's no income coming in. It's bleeding profusely and everything's going out. But when you flip a rental property, while you're remodeling it and before you resell it for profit, you have income coming in. And you can do this over a period of years. You can buy a 24-unit building and do the same thing and take 4 years to improve the property from one grade to the next. And while you own it, of course, you're generating cash flow. And at the end of the day, when you're done, you sell it for great profit. The reason I like this strategy is you go up the scale in numbers of units and up the scale as far as the grade of property. They're fewer and further between, and the cost of them, the values are often much higher. So you can generally make a lot of money on flipping one of those long-term rentals over time. It's called a hybrid approach. And I love it. I've done it. I highly encourage you to embrace it also. So you've always got cash flow coming in, and you always get big capital gains coming in from resales. So in any case, that's basically what I wanted to cover on this podcast is exit strategies. There's more than meets the eye on this, and we will do another podcast on it. For example, we'll go over lease options in more detail and how you can benefit from a perspective of a buyer or a seller. We'll go over assisted living, not in terms of clinical medical assisted living but non-medical or non-clinical assisted living. Great way to serve the community and make some extra cash flow. And also Airbnb, been around for a couple of years now. Not a lot of case history on it, but quite frankly, it's developing as quite an industry. So we're watching an industry develop right in front of us. So we might as well participate in it. Remember, the early bird gets the worms, guys. So in any case, stay tuned for the next podcast. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to this Real Estate Investing for Professional Men and Women. Of course, it's on iHeart Music, iTunes. You can go there and subscribe there. And remember to also go to myinvestmentservices.com and go ahead and sign up for the silver level membership area where you get all those tools and techniques and strategies and Excel spreadsheets and calculators, all kinds of stuff you can use, reports on cash buyers and private lenders. Also network with everybody else out there who's just like you. All right. Trying to invest the right way and meeting with the different vendors that support you in the way of insurance or lending, appraisers, contractors, the whole 9 yards. And the most important of all, what we call the investor agent. So in any case, glad you were participating today on this one. Hope you enjoyed it. I look forward to the next one. In the meantime, God bless you and your families. And we will see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Real Estate Investing for Professional Men and Women. Be sure to go to myinvestmentservices.com to join our community and start building wealth today.